using headphones if you would like to hear the gentle mic brushing. Now, before we get into tonight's case, I would like to take a moment to hear from our wonderful sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a meal kit delivery service that ships fresh ingredients and recipes right to your door. Their meals are so easy and delicious that you'll look forward to dinner time more than ever. You get to pick which meals and how many you'd like to receive. The choices are extremely creative and well balanced. There are multiple plans available, such as veggie, pescatarian, and fit and wholesome meals, to make it easy to stick to your goals. We've all noticed how expensive supermarkets and takeout meals have become. Well, you'll be shocked to find out how economical HelloFresh is. Take a look for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code TrueCrimeTime16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. And guess what? HelloFresh is up to 72% cheaper than dining at a restaurant or grocery shopping. Another great thing is that HelloFresh recipes include pre-portioned ingredients that mean less prep for you and less wasted food. Plus, almost all the packaging is recyclable. I love to cook with my husband, and these meals are fabulous for us because there's no mess or hassle involved. It goes from the fridge to the table in no more than half an hour. We spend quality time together prepping, cooking, and the best part, enjoying the delicious meal. I honestly wish I had known how great HelloFresh was a long time ago. Please go to HelloFresh.com and use the code TrueCrimeTime16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. Now let's get back to tonight's case. So we are heading to Naples, Florida, and the date of the crime is July 10th, 2021. This is the case of Ava Majury. So let's talk a little bit about her. Ava was born in September of 2006. She lived most of her childhood in Manalapan, New Jersey. She had 2 parents. Her father was a police officer working in Jersey City, and her mother was an ultrasound technician. She had 2 brothers, one older and one younger. And she was your typical girl. She did well in school. She had lots of friends. She loved playing soccer. And she was considered to be a, quote, go-getter by her father. Even at a very young age, she already had an entrepreneurial spirit. She had made her own sticker for her laptop, and when all of her friends really liked it, she started selling these stickers to them and made a total of $700 exes, and they just liked what they saw in Naples, Florida. Just a very beautiful place, very safe. So they rented a house there. Now, when Ava was 13, she started a TikTok account. Now, FYI, in the year 2020, 49 million users of TikTok were under the age of 14. So Ava, being 13, fell right in there and was extremely relatable to these viewers. And she was posting wholesome content. She was, young girl. She was doing the popular TikTok dances. She was lip syncing, and she was posting content of herself interacting with her family. 1 year later, her account had blown up to over 1 million followers. She was doing amazing. And not only did she have tons of followers, she was making big money, okay? She had sponsorships from various companies, and she was able to make 1,000, sometimes 2,000 on her videos. She was even hearing from Hollywood producers who were interested in her for maybe reality series. She also had a Snapchat and an Instagram, which sponsors were now interested in putting their products on those pages as well. So, to quote Ava directly, I have 3 TikTok accounts, so I could have one brand come to me and be like, oh, I'll do 1,000 for one video on your main account. And I'll be like, oh great, I have 2 other accounts that are different types of people on them. So altogether, I'm making $1,700 off just my name because I opened up 3 accounts rather than building off one. So you get what I'm saying? She had 3 TikToks, okay? So she could, and since she had different people following her on each one, different types of people, the sponsors were willing to pay her to put their ads on all of the different TikTok accounts, plus the Instagram and the Snapchat. So she's making it. Good for her, right? And her parents were blown away. Like, they had no idea that anyone could ever make this much money and be this successful just by doing what she was doing. But everyone was pretty happy. And she was excited because every night, she said, when she would post something, she would go to sleep. She would wake up in the morning, take a look, and see that it had blown up, and it was like, such a rush. Now let's talk about a certain fan of hers, okay? His name was Eric Justin. He was 18 years old, and he lived in the Baltimore, Maryland area. He had been born in the US, but at some point, he and his parents had moved to India, which was where his father was from. His father was a software engineer. So they had lived in So he sounds like a very well-rounded and very bright kid, right? That's what it sounds like. Well, he became very, very interested in Ava, and he started messaging her directly on all her platforms. And he even found his way onto the online games that she was playing with her brothers. Now, this was nothing new to her. She often tried to be friendly with her fans as much as she could because there were so many, you know. And she would give them those generic, "Hi, how you doing? What's going on?" you know. Soon she came to realize that he had been in touch with many of her friends from both New Jersey and Florida, and he was paying them to sell him information about her, such as her cell phone number, or they were sending him photos that they had of her. And he even did one kid's math homework for him to get information. So, as you can imagine, she was pretty angry with these so-called friends, and she blocked all of them. And all these friends were like, "Oh, look at Ava, she's gone Hollywood. She doesn't want to talk to us anymore because she's so famous." But she decided, after speaking with her parents, that it would be okay to reach out to this guy, Eric, and say to him, "Hey, you want stuff from me? You know, you don't need to go behind my back and pay other people. I will send you photos of myself and you can pay me for them." Great. So she sent him 2 photos. Now, like I said, her parents told her this was fine. You know, they came up with this idea together. So he Venmo'd her $300, and she sent him 2 pictures of her face. Now, supposedly, these were photos that you could find online anyway of her. They weren't special photos. According to her, quote, "I wasn't sending anything of my body. It was just pictures of my face, which is what I assume that he was paying for. My whole thing is my pretty smile. That's my content." And she's not really wrong there. That is what her content is. She is very pretty. And that kind of is why she's so popular. She is super pretty. So that's what he got. But he started asking for more types of photos, like feet pics and more risque type things. And she was not going to be sending him any of that. Now remember, she's like 13, 14 years old, okay? And he's 18, he's asking for these risque photos. So she wasn't sending any of it. But he persisted, and he sent her money anyway. You know, he would Venmo her a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. Maybe he was hoping she would go ahead and send him the pics just because he sent the money. I don't know. But finally, when he had gotten to a grand total of $600, when you added up all the payments, he said to her, "That's all I have. I'm broke now." So her father reached out to him, told him, "Hey, listen, she's underage, cut it out." this classmate told Ava about it, sent her copies of the texts. And of course, Ava was shook up by this, and she showed her parents. And her dad, he looked at it, and he did a little research, and he found out that Eric lived near Baltimore, which is nowhere near Florida, okay? So he said, this is not a legitimate threat. This kid is, quote, a keyboard cowboy. That's the term he used. One of those people who just feels free to type whatever, but they don't really mean to do anything. So they did not worry about it. Let's move to the date of the crime. It was July 10th, 2020 at 4:30 a.m. And at the time, Ava was almost 15. She would be 15 in September. Eric has just flown from Maryland to Florida, and he has arrived at their home, the Majury's home in Naples. He was wearing something that looked like a blue Walmart worker's vest. He had protective eyewear and earplugs, and he had a gun. And he had 2 phones that were filled with photos and videos of Ava. These phones were chock full, okay? Gets to the house. Like I said, it's 4:30 a.m. They're all in there sleeping. And he shoots the door open, just like he said. So now remember, the dad is a retired cop, so I guess he kind of knows what to do, right? So he jumps out of bed to go see what the heck is going on. And unfortunately, he fell and he gashed his knee pretty bad. Meanwhile, the mom called 911. And Eric, fortunately, his gun jammed. And the dad finally got himself up. He was going to get his gun, and Eric takes off out of the house now because his gun is jammed. So the dad gets his gun, and he goes and he stands in the doorway. He's guarding the house now. He is waiting for the police. He's going to protect his family in case Eric comes back. And would you believe it? He came back like moments later. I guess he unjammed the gun, or maybe he didn't unjam it, but he comes back, faces the dad, holds up the gun, and the dad has his own gun, and he's holding it up too, and he tells Eric, drop the gun or else I'm shooting. Well, we don't really know what Eric is thinking, but he does not drop the gun. So, Ava's dad shot him, I believe just once. And shortly after the shooting, Eric died. So meanwhile, inside the house, Ava had heard the shot, the first shot. She had jumped up out of her bed. Her and the brothers had ran to be together somewhere in the back of the house, trying to be safe. One of the brothers said to her, "This is all your fault." Was it though? I don't know. We'll talk about that at the end. Now, after all of this, the father was not prosecuted. I mean, I don't think anyone would think he had any other It's called Stand Your Ground. This law governs justifiable use of deadly force. It states that a person is justified in using or threatening to use deadly force if he or she reasonably believes that using or threatening to use such force is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to himself or herself or another. So, it's got a lot of words there, right? But I think we all understand what it's saying. His life, his safety was being threatened, and he had the right to protect himself and his family. Okay. So, now shortly after that, the place where they had been renting the house evicted them because they had decided that this family had brought an intruder to the development and they didn't want that happening anymore, so they're out. And Ava took a little short break from her TikTok, but she came right back and continued what she was doing. She even received an invitation from a prospective agent asking her to come over to Los Angeles for some red carpet events and meet with some other influencers. And then she got herself a public relations agent, and she had her own enterprise created, which was called AGM Creations. Now her parents made the decision that she would continue to do exactly what she was doing, that this incident was not going to end her career. And here is what the father had to say. Quote, "Her creations, her contacts, her videos became such a big part of her that to take it away would have been hard." It was also said that she hoped to be a role model for others to create positive content, and she wanted to warn others about the threats to safety that exist online. So that was part of her goal. So she continued to attend school there in Florida and make her videos. But remember the boy who was in contact with Eric, the one who Eric told that he was going to breach her door or shoot through her door? Remember that? That's the kid who then sent that information to Ava. Well, this kid had now started what she considered to be stalking her at school. He was following her everywhere, and she was becoming increasingly afraid of what might happen. And then she saw that he had posted an online video of himself at a gun firing range, shooting. So her and her parents got really scared, and they spoke to the school about it, but he hadn't really done anything specific to my knowledge, so I don't think anything really happened. Now, this So what do you think? I'll tell you some of my thoughts. Okay, let's start with the $300 pictures that she sent to Eric. Okay, now whatever Eric did, it is absolutely not Ava's fault or her parents' fault that he came and did what he did, okay, without a doubt. But I think a lot of us are saying, what's up with that anyway? Why send him pictures of your face for $300 that he can get off the internet for free? And even if he can't get them off the internet for free, you know that he's just overly obsessed with Ava, okay? Why not just cut him off? The end. I mean, he's out there. He is trying to buy information from her friends, or her fake friends. Obviously, something's not right with him. So why would you want to go contact him personally and say, hey, listen, you don't have to go send money to these other people. I'll send you the pictures myself. And she's only 13. Like, if you were an adult and you chose to do that, you know, whatever, that's on you. But we're talking about her parents deciding that it's okay to go ahead and send this disturbed man pictures for money, for a lot of money. And it's not as if they need the money. It's not as if they need this to buy their next meal. She was doing really, really well. Like, she did not need this. She should have just said, no, be completely done with this guy, and leave it at that. Now, I'm not saying that if they hadn't sent him those pictures that none of this would have happened. I have no idea what would have happened, but I just wonder why they would do that. Just not victim blaming, but just wondering what they were thinking. So, and then he continued to send money. And you might say, well, he sent it without her asking for it, but you can reverse it, right? I mean, I don't have Venmo, but I have PayPal, and I know you can refund the money. So if it were me, which it wasn't, but if it were me, I would have just sent the money back. I don't want to take money from somebody for nothing. Now, when they decided that he wasn't a real threat, I can kind of see that, you know, because he was only 18, he was in another state. You know, some people, if you're not an overly anxious type, you might say, nothing's gonna happen, you know. And what are you gonna do anyway? You reported to the police that he made a statement to another kid about thinking about shooting down a door. I'm not sure how far they would get with the police on that. I don't know if that's enough to matter. I don't know, though. Next thing I'm thinking is, what exactly did he intend on doing? You know? So he comes down there to shoot the door in. What's he gonna do? I mean, we're never gonna know. Was it the scenario where he's thinking, well, if I can't have her, then nobody can? Was that it? Was he gonna come kidnap her? Was he gonna kill her? What did he have in mind? I'm glad it never got to that, but I'm just wondering. And then the fact that he had to know that by returning to the house, he was gonna get shot. What, you know, is that what he wanted? And we don't know enough about him, really. We know that he was very smart. decision that her parents had the right to make in whatever direction they wanted to. But is it any different than having a daughter who is a child actress or a child model and is doing really well? Is it any different? They can also wind up with stalkers. She wasn't posting anything inappropriate, and she's out there doing really well, and who knows what's to come, so I can see their point of not wanting to make her stop doing it. I can also see the other perspective of, hey, she almost lost her life for this, and is it worth it? So you could definitely look at it both ways. But one thing I would say is that since this